It's the day after Thanksgiving, and this is normally a time where most people just want to say F it, screw it.
I've overeaten in Thanksgiving.
I'm just gonna give up and wait till New Year's to lose weight. But you don't have to let Thanksgiving or the holidays or any weekend or vacation derail you from your weight loss goals ever again. It is possible to lose weight and stay consistent even if you've fallen off the wagon during the holiday season or any vacation time. By the end of this video, you'll learn my 3 top tips to help you stay consistent with your weight loss goals even after you've fallen off the wagon. To learn how to do it, keep watching till the end of this video. My first tip to help you stay consistent even after you've fallen off the wagon is to be honest about wanting to overeat. This one might sound harsh, but it's actually the tip for myself that has helped me the most. When I'm honest with myself about wanting to overeat the food that I did, especially in Thanksgiving, it helps me see that I was actually the one in charge of my food decisions, and it wasn't up to my environment, it wasn't up to the people around me. I was the one who had control over those food choices, and I chose to overeat. A quote that I love that I learned from Corinne Crabtree, who's another weight loss coach, is that she said that there's no such thing as the wagon. We keep talking about this idea that, you know, you're falling off the wagon, you've fallen off track, things like that. But what Corinne actually introduced to me for the first time was, she actually said there's no such thing as a wagon. When we say things like we've fallen off the wagon, it implies that we're making choices about food that's beyond our control, as if somebody else is driving the wagon and it's not us. So instead, what Corinne says is that just remember, there's no wagon, there's just you who is making the choices around what to eat and what not to eat. You are the one who's in the driver's seat of all your decision making around food and weight loss. And that actually sounds much more empowering, because if you are the one who is overeating and you're the one who is causing yourself to gain weight, that means you are also the solution. You're also the person who could help you lose the weight, and you're the one in control, not food, not the holidays, and not your relatives who keep pressuring you to eat that pumpkin pie that you don't want to eat. So first, you want to admit to yourself you did want to eat those foods, that you chose to eat those foods for a reason, and just be curious about yourself for why you wanted to eat those foods, and just support yourself on those decisions. Like, I will always choose on Thanksgiving, usually I'll choose to overeat just because I want to. Like, I don't even have to explain myself, I just want more food sometimes, and that can be a reason enough to do it. And as long as you support yourself in that reason, that is okay. You also don't want to make yourself wrong for overeating. So if you do overeat, try to find out what you enjoyed about that moment, what you enjoyed about the foods you had, appreciate those foods, and then move forward to tip number 2. So my second tip for how to stay consistent after you've fallen off the wagon is that you want to do something kind for yourself. When you eat off the rails, or if you fall off track and things like that, that usually tends to be the time where your inner critic, your brain, will be the most judgmental and very, very mean. Especially if you gained a lot of weight the next day. Like, if I overeat in Thanksgiving, usually I might gain like 4 pounds the next day or something like that, which is normal, especially if you're eating a lot more food than you normally do. If I overeat, what happens is that it tends to bring up a lot of guilt and a lot of shame for me, because especially when I was younger, when I gained weight, this was when my mom would show some sort of disapproval. Like, I'd be conditioned when I was younger to have this idea that if I gained weight, that somehow I'm not good enough, that I don't look pretty enough. Like, I had all these messages in my head when I was younger. When I gained weight, my mom would tell me to wear something different so I look smaller, or she would tell me like things like, oh, you're eating too much, like things like that. So especially if you gain weight the next day, this is the time for yourself to be very kind and very gentle and very loving towards yourself. Now, most women are afraid of being kind to themselves because they have this idea that if they show any sort of compassion for themselves, or if they're kind to themselves, they'll think that they're just gonna allow themselves to lay on the couch all day, lay in bed all day, and stuff their face with Oreos. But there's a difference between self-indulgence and self-love or self-compassion. Self-indulgence, or feeling better when you eat a lot of foods and overconsume foods, is not based on love, because feeling love and feeling compassion for yourself doesn't have to do with anything outside of you. It's more like you just wanting a dopamine hit and you just want to feel instant gratification right away. So self-indulgence is not actually what love feels like. And you could think about it for yourself, like when you think about maybe your wedding day, or if you think about a favorite pet, like I love my 2 pet cats, Coffee and Donut, or if you think about maybe a niece or a nephew or a friend that you love, you know that you don't need food in all those memories to feel love, because love doesn't actually come from food. It comes from your own mind, and it comes from when you think loving thoughts. Like, the reason why we feel love towards a pet is because we think loving thoughts about our pets. Like, I love my cat is the cutest, my cat is adorable. Like, you think so many loving thoughts about the cat, and so you can actually direct that self-love towards yourself. You can actually do that when you treat your own self with kindness, and that starts with talking to yourself in a kind way. So if you're noticing you have a lot of inner critic thoughts, like a lot of self-judgment and very negative thoughts toward yourself, it's helpful to start changing that dialogue in your mind to go from very critical thoughts to more neutral thoughts. So if you tell yourself things like, I'm so fat, or I hate my body, you can go to a thought that's a little bit more neutral, like I have a body, or I'm thinking the thought that I'm fat. When you focus more on the facts, it helps you release that judgment around yourself, so you could start moving towards more loving and more compassionate thoughts towards yourself. Another way you could have a little bit more self-compassion is when you add the words "and it's okay" at the end of a sentence. So if you tell yourself,
"Gosh, I gained so much weight today,"
you could add at the end of that sentence, "and it's okay." So if you tell yourself, I gained so much weight today and it's okay, it can help to sort of release some of that judgment so that you're not feeling shame and guilt, and that will help you have a better relationship with yourself, so you're more willing to continue with your weight loss rather than be in shame and feel terrible and want to continue eating all the foods that caused you to gain weight in the first place. So the second tip, again, is to do something kind for yourself. Start changing the dialogue in your mind of how you talk to yourself, and you could start with neutral words first if loving words are a little bit inaccessible in the moment. Now, before I go to the last tip, and tip number 3, I want to share that the holiday time is definitely a time where people will feel like they're gonna let loose and relax and sort of put their weight loss goals to the wayside. So to help you avoid that, so you can stay consistent even during the holiday time, is I am thinking about putting on a brand new 2-week challenge that's all about how to have impulse mastery over the holidays. And if this is something that you are interested in, where you want to learn how to have impulse control around food, no matter what foods come up in the holidays, no matter what people cook, no matter what your family tells you at the dinner table, you can have that impulse mastery, let me know in the comments by saying challenge in the comments below, and I will let you know when I'm ready to put on that challenge. So just want to see if that's something you guys would love, and I'd be happy to put that on for you. So go ahead and put challenge in the comments below if you want to have impulse mastery around the holidays this holiday season. All right, guys, now on to tip number 3 on how to stay consistent after falling off the wagon. So tip number 3 is super simple but very powerful, and it is to take that moment as a learning moment. Meaning if you ate off plan, if you overate, if you stuffed yourself with a ton of food in the holidays, take it all as a learning moment instead of a failure. Even this one switch in your head, in this dialogue in your mind, like instead of thinking it as you messed up and you turn it into a learning moment, it helps your brain see that you didn't do actually something wrong. Like we have so many ideas in our mind of like eating right and eating wrong, and overeating is wrong for you and undereating is better for you, or some people might have ideas that eating less is better for you. So you want to get out of that all or nothing thinking, because it really causes you to be very judgmental with yourself and really harsh with yourself if you're not doing one or the other. So to help mitigate that, you want to just take what happened in that party, whatever you did, take it as a learning moment, and then focus on how you could use that moment to actually help you grow and learn. Because every failure, every mistake, every opportunity like this will actually teach you something about how to handle it the next time. And when you learn from that, you actually will be well equipped on how to handle it better the next time, so that you don't make the same mistakes over and over, and you actually feel more empowered and you do start to lose weight consistently. So some questions I love to ask myself when I am evaluating if I overate is these 4 questions. The first question is to ask yourself, what triggered you to overeat? Was it the people around you? Was it the food in front of you? Was it the time of the day? What was it that triggered you to overeat? The second thing you want to ask yourself is, how did it make you feel physically after you overate? Because the brain will want to focus on overeating because it wants pleasure, but you have to also think of what was the consequence of overeating. Like, how did you feel in your stomach? Did you feel like bloated? Did you feel nauseous? Did you feel sleepy? Like, how did it physically feel after you did that overeating in the party or on the vacation? Third, you want to ask yourself, what did you learn from this experience? When you learn from it, you'll see there's so much wisdom in all these moments. And when we're not afraid of making mistakes, but we actually look forward to making mistakes because we learn from it, it will help you be more resilient every single time you eat off plan or go off the rails. You won't hesitate to keep moving forward because you won't be afraid of making mistakes. In fact, you'll be willing to make them because you'll learn from them and grow. And the last question is, how will you handle this next time? So now that you learned all that information from those 3 questions, you'll ask yourself, what will you do differently next time? How will you handle it in the future? And that is what will help you stay consistent even after you fall off the wagon. All right, everyone, now you've learned my 3 tips on how to stay consistent after you fall off the wagon. And I make videos like this every single week to help you feel in control around sugar and carbs, no matter where you are at in your weight loss journey. If you want to be notified of all my future videos, go ahead and click the subscribe button below and click the bell so you're notified when every video comes out. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for the next video, go ahead and watch the video that's going to come up on the screen in just a few moments. Thank you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.